hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Attia.
On Pulse 95.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I got you again.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday. Welcome to the Afternoon Karak, guys, where we love to keep the competitive spirit going. If you guys are wondering what are we doing, that's because you're listening to us through the radio or our podcast, which is why I would like to direct you to our YouTube, where we are streaming live, and you can see us do our shenanigans, actually doing it. You can see the competitiveness coming out of my eyes because it's Aries season.
I mean, half the fun is listening, but the other half is watching. So.
Absolutely. Especially when it comes to, me beating Mikhail, which is always so much fun.
This
always
is like
an
the
honor.
second losing streak for me.
We know what? We need to make a compilation by the end of this just to see who is truly the winner of this ongoing competition.
All right, can't wait for that.
And we also cannot wait to speak about the Falcon and Winter Soldier, the second episode. We are still going on with our reviews. Super excited about that. Again, if you guys have not watched it yet, it is going to be filled with spoilers. So, spoiler alert. You guys just can, maybe turn off the radio or your podcast or skip within the next, I'd say, 10 minutes and then come back again because we've got a lot to talk about today. Starting with, we do have some news about Comic-Con. Apparently, there is going to be a live in-person Comic-Con, but not now. It's been pushed all the way till around November.
That's some really good news.
And that is all San Diego Comic-Con. I just need to clarify.
We're talking about
so
the biggest one here, yeah.
Exactly, because obviously we've missed out on it last year due to the pandemic, and now apparently it's going to be happening then, and it just makes me wonder, are we prepared? Are we ready for something as big as SDCC? Because you know how massive that event can get. And again, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, despite the fact that most of us will be inoculated by then, but is it the right time to hold an in-person event?
I see what you mean. It's 2021. We're all getting a bit anxious. We're all just sort of fidgety and I'm impatient. But guys, do wait it out for this hour because we have so many stories to talk about. And also, for Marvel fans, Falcon and Winter Soldier Episode 2 review right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Is it an epic or epic failure? The Big Review. Movies, games, and TV in focus.
Pulse 95.
We are back with our review of the Captain Soldier. Oh my God, I did it. I did it.
I thought we got it down patted.
I thought I did.
You rehearsed it?
Apparently not. With the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're talking about episode 2, and it's going to be filled with spoilers. So spoiler alert starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I'm quite interested in the new Captain America because they're trying to humanize him, but at the same time, I hate him so much. I really hate him.
This is the episode where, in the beginning, you really see him trying to rehearse and be ready for the part.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a whole crowd cheering for him. And it's like, maybe this guy has what it takes. I don't know. And they do get into his military background. He has 3 Medal of Honors. I'm like, okay, this guy got some history in the battlefield.
He's got some accolades.
Something like that. But then later in the episode, he kind of gets a little cocky,
Very cocky. And that's the thing. I feel like they were trying to humanize him. And at the very beginning, like you said, I'm like, yeah, maybe. But I still hate him, but I feel bad for him. He's trying, has big shoes to fill in. But then I still disliked him. By the end of the episode, I'm like, you know what? I hate him with a passion. I do not care. I hate him with a passion.
I get what
much.
I get what Falcon and Winter Soldier are feeling, and what's his name? Falcon himself. He in the beginning felt like he wasn't worthy of it, right?
Yeah.
But then now Winter Soldier steps in, Bucky, and tells him it's like you should have never given that shield away because look what just happened. And he realizes the repercussions, and it's like he can't. The damage is already done. He can't go back. And he just has to move forward. But at the same time, it's like that little, that little needle in your back, you just can't get rid of it. It's that itch. And that is what this character is. in the second episode. It's so frustrating.
He is incredibly frustrating. But let's go back to Bucky and Sam, because I am so glad with the way they're dealing with their dynamic. I thought that they're going to make them bicker. Okay, they are bickering, but it still shows that they're kind of bickering as best old pals, not bickering as in, oh, they need to team up. And it just shows that, yes, those two have had history before. And again, they're acknowledging that history. They're acknowledging the fact that they probably worked together back when Cap was on the run for 2 years between Infinity War and Civil War.
Yeah.
So they're kind of acknowledging it. They're like, yeah, they've already gone through the whole, friendship, finding each other, knowing each other.
But there is a reluctance in their relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it has to do, obviously, with the fact that they've just lost their mentor, their best friend, the person they look up to, both of them, both Bucky and Sam. And also the fact that they're both also dealing with their own problems. You've got Bucky and the fact that he's dealing with the repercussions of everything he's done for the past maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And we've got Sam, who also has to now try to adjust to a somewhat normal life, take on the mantle of Captain America, not officially, but he knows that it was a burden placed on him personally by Captain America himself. And also at the same time, he also has to deal with familial issues because he had left his family for quite a while, whether it's through the blip and also before that when he was on the run for 2 years. So at least 7-8 year gap where he wasn't there for his family. And also dealing with the racial sensitivities. And I like that it was very subtle, but it was still there. It was acknowledging it that even somebody as big and important as Sam Wilson, the Falcon, he even goes through that nobody is really safe from the very socio-economic dynamics of society.
The world is still in chaos, and in this episode, we get a little bit more glimpse into the rising threat, the Flag Smashers, who we also discover are also super soldiers. But how is that possible? I thought, Steve Rogers was the only super soldier.
And the new character, Isaiah, who apparently was the other super soldier that nobody knew about for many, many years, and the things he's been through. And the fact that, again, probably it has to do with the racial discrimination that's going on in the United States, especially back in the early 19th, 20th century.
When it was at its most extreme.
Exactly. And basically how Captain America, Steve Rogers, was treated as a hero. Meanwhile, Isaiah was sent to do the dirty work, but also he was treated like a lab rat, unlike Steve Rogers. So that's very important and very subtle. But also I have to add that I really loved the small jokes here and there. They were just perfect.
Yeah.
They weren't overbearing. They weren't annoying.
I like the running joke of the three bad ones.
The three bad ones.
The three bad boys, which is the wizards, aliens,
and
robots.
And robots, yes. And the whole was it Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is not a wizard, he's a sorcerer.
Yeah.
And a sorcerer is a wizard without a hat. I love that so much. And also Zemo,
we get a little tease.
So excited about Zemo. That was a perfect, I'd say, cliffhanger for the next episode, which makes me super excited about it. I know I keep saying super excited, but no, that was perfect right then and there. They're like, let's cut it off.
They put that orchestral music.
Exactly.
And they kind of pan to the cell. You see his face pop up. And you're getting all sorts of theories. Is he going to be an anti-hero? Because we know he was a supervillain in the Civil War.
And even in the trailer, they made it seem like he was the villain for the longest time ever. I thought that he was the one who was pushing all these, what do you call them, the smashers, the flag smashers.
Yeah, he's the mastermind or something.
Yeah, apparently not. And I was like, oh, okay, super interesting. It's like, I'm going crazy. I'm super happy with the way the direction is going. It's very slow somewhat, even though it has a lot of action. For some reason, even though, again, WandaVision was considered to be slow, but I find Captain Falcon, again.
I know.
The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I find it actually slower than WandaVision. It doesn't make sense until you watch it. It could also be because the episodes are longer, so there's a lot more talking, a lot of things happening. Meanwhile, WandaVision was much more compressed and things were happening faster. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. Cannot wait for the next episode 3, which
is like the midpoint in the series.
Exactly, because
things might just really pick up from there.
Yes, because we're getting only 6 episodes of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Text us 4215 Itisalat or do. We'd love to hear from you as we move on to our next topic, and that is SDCC. San Diego Comic-Con is happening again, but in person. Are we ready for it? Let's talk about that coming right up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Before we move on to our chat about Comic-Con SDCC, we have to give a shout out to Hind, our favorite listener, who loves to geek out with us when we talk about the MCU. She has a lot to say today. She says, "Hi guys, first of all, I'm loving the dynamic so much. I can't wait for the next episode. Same here." She said, "I felt like John Walker is being used for publicity the same way Steve Rogers was when he first started.
But there's a lot more control from the government this time around."
Absolutely. I think even Steve Rogers, he was controlled a lot at the very beginning, and then eventually he broke free from it.
Civil War.
Even before Civil War, back when in the first movie, the first Avenger, if you remember when he went to save his friends, when they had the whole operation, do you remember that?
I remember.
That was when he was said, "I'm tired of this. Just throw me into action. I'm tired of selling bonds and doing the whole, being just a puppet."
Yeah.
So if you guys remember, he does have the whole control, but he broke out of it. So we just need to see, will John Walker do the same thing or not? She says, "I don't think Walker is a nice or decent guy." Same here. The same way Steve was. Something is very off about him. I don't know if anyone else felt the same, but the scene with Sam jumping off the plane echoes the scene with Iron Man and Steve in the first Avengers movie, when Iron Man says, "I have a plan, attack," and then jumps off after Thor and Loki.
I didn't actually think of it that way. That is sort of like a tip of the head fan service.
Maybe we need to rewatch it and check it out.
Definitely.
I love that. She says, "I love the Captain America Winter Soldier theme music playing from time to time. For me, even though it's background music, it helps connect events and characters together." And we saw that in WandaVision as well. Again, spoiler alert, when we heard Doctor Strange theme music, because that also connects Wanda with the upcoming movie. She says, "Finally, I think Marvel did something positive here by touching on the topic of racism when they introduced Isaiah, Black Super Soldier, and then the cops questioning Sam rather than Bucky." Absolutely, we agree with that. We think it was a very interesting episode, and you just gave us a good summary. Honestly, Hind, we should bring you in next time and just have you just go off about it, because you basically summarized everything we said in the previous segment. And thank you so much for joining us. We love hearing from you as usual. Now we go back to our Comic-Con plans. They plan an in-person Comic-Con, the San Diego Comic-Con, and it's happening on Thanksgiving weekend, which would be sometime around in November. And I believe that probably because they're hoping that by November there are more people who are vaccinated, whether within the United States or around the world. Especially talking from the UAE's point of view, we are well on towards 70% inoculation.
Yeah.
We are around 52% right now.
Somewhat of a slow recovery.
Exactly. No, the UAE is fine. We're doing good.
Alhamdulillah.
But alhamdulillah. And so are some other countries as well. But I think they're hinging on that idea so much. But I feel like, are we even ready for something like that? Are they ready to probably even lessen the amount of people who can join them in the convention? Because even 200 people is too little for SDCC, but it's too much for being in the middle of a pandemic.
Comic-Con, especially the San Diego one, can bring in about over 100,000 people. And we're not talking just people in the States, people across the world come to this event. So either things do get better in hopes for the time when it does open up, or they have to really follow some strict COVID-19 protocols of some kind and actually have a capacity limit of maybe a couple of thousand people every hour or so.
That's going to be incredibly hard. I think they should
I can't imagine the logistics of it.
Yes, it's going to be like a logistics nightmare, to say the least, trying to, maneuver people. Some people might be problematic as well. They might not want to leave. Some people would say we paid, like a ticket money, etc., that we want to stay there, want to get our money's worth of meeting people and, convention, etc. The whole just a convention fun. So I really don't know how that's going to work out. I think they should still stick to a virtual event until we figure out, the entire world figures out the deal with the vaccine. Do we need to be inoculated once every 6 months, once a year? What is happening with that? I think it's too early perhaps for something as big as SDCC, because like we said, it generates at least 100,000 people on average every year. Can they limit it to 200 people? Especially thinking about the artist alley and whatnot. That itself,
the local community, the small businesses.
Exactly, those themselves are over 200 people. And will the actors and actresses and producers, directors and whatnot, are they prepared to be there as well and be mingling with people? That also might be a problem as well. So
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like
It's in the statement itself. They say that it's their hope that things are going to get better by fall. And again, this is just sort of just faith. And if push comes to shove, I know eventually there might be an announcement getting close to fall saying, hey guys, we're just going to do a virtual thing. And if it does, we'll be sure to report it right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Of course. Coming up next, Sony reportedly is shutting down the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita PlayStation stores. Mikhail has a lot to say about that. Let's give him a chance. Coming right up next after this very short break, right here on the Magic Hour, the Afternoon Karak.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
WandaVision ended with a score from yours truly right here on the Afternoon Karak. An 8 out of 10, right? We gave it an 8 out of 10?
8 out of 10. Sometimes it hits that 9, and I would say it comes from those early episodes of just the mystery and the intrigue and the little, those last 5 seconds right before the credits hit.
Yeah.
And you start screaming at the screen. It's like, no, I want more, So yeah, real amazing show, honestly.
It was a great show. And now apparently there might be some sort of spin-off that there are some rumors that White Vision might be getting his own MCU TV show. And I'm wondering, are we reaching that limit where, Marvel, this is getting a bit ridiculous? Does everything need a TV show and a movie? I think we're reaching that point.
This is what I'm worried about. Yeah. I mean, it was just last week we were praising Marvel for taking the chance to focus on every character, give them out a decent amount of screen time and story time so that when they come in the movies, it's going to be the best thing ever. But then the question is, does every one of them require that Disney Plus series treatment, And when it comes to White Vision, I would say he's
cool.
He's a unique case of how do we give closure to this character?
We can easily give him closure in any of the movies. He can reappear. We can delve into his story then, because the story is ongoing and it will keep on going in the background and it will eventually somehow integrate into whatever the MCU is going towards. So I feel that it really does not need or does not warrant any sort of TV show. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve a story of his own. He does. We need to know what happens with him and how does he eventually becomes, the vision of, Wanda's vision, right?
Yeah.
So we can find out through the movies.
Now, let's say that there is a series that's in development for this.
Yeah.
What sort of comic can they take inspiration from? Well, we know that House of M was used as inspiration for WandaVision. There is another comic series, and it focuses on Vision himself. It's called The Wisdom of the Vision. And in this story, he actually recreates his own family.
So it's just like WandaVision, but this is Vision
Something
Wanda.
like that. Here, let me show it to you real quick.
I've seen that picture. Yeah, I've seen it.
So maybe they might explore this kind of thing. I don't know. And it might get even weirder than what we saw in WandaVision.
See, I feel like it's a bit repetitive. It's similar to WandaVision. And I feel even WandaVision themselves, they took some inspiration from this comic as well. I know that it's heavily inspired by House of M, but also this comic, because I've seen a lot of people discuss this comic as well. So I feel like, no, it doesn't really warrant...
Feels like it's retreading,
retelling. Again, we want to know a story, but we can find out a story by integrating a story into one of the movies, especially perhaps Doctor Strange, or maybe later on in some Avengers movie when they require some team up and they're like, hey, how do we get Wanda to, remember who she is and bring her back to, her normal self, calm self.
Yeah.
Let's bring in White Vision and then something will happen. Who knows? I don't feel it's very Deus Ex Machina kind of feel, but it feels it's going to work. It's going to work out. They can figure out a way without making a movie.
Let's ask the fans here. Text us 4215 Insular Dude. Would you like a whole dedicated series for White Vision?
No.
That's Aisha's answer.
Aisha
I'm like,
says
maybe,
no.
kind of. I'm into that weird stuff.
No. But coming right up next is a lovely story. Honestly, I'm very hyped about this. Ghost of Tsushima is getting their own live-action movie, and it's going to be directed by none other than the director of John Wick. Stay tuned for that and so much more after some SZA. We haven't had some SZA for quite a while now.
Treat us, Aisha.
Let's treat you to some SZA, some good days.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
There's very few times in life when you get the best of both worlds.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of those cases, as Sony Pictures and PlayStation Productions have announced that they're going to be adapting the popular samurai action thriller Ghost of Tsushima into a film. And better yet, will be directed by none other than Chad Stahelski, the director of the 3 John Wick movies.
Beautiful. Perfect.
That's it. That's the end of the news. Let's take a break. That's all you need to know. Honestly, it's going to be good.
We're happy. We have high hopes for this. And people are like, who should be playing the main character? And that is the actual voice actor, because the actor looks exactly like him. And obviously, he's done the voice. He knows what he's doing.
Just train him. Just give him some stuntman training, and he's good to go.
I don't think he needs that either, because usually there is a stunt person around, and they will do the job. Shout out to all stunt people around the world. They truly carry the entirety of the action genre and all action scenes. Without them, those movies will not ever come to life. So I think they're good to go. That would be the perfect thing if we get him to play the main character. We are good to go. The news cannot get any more perfect, and we don't even care how the movie turns out to be, because we know that it's going to be pretty good.
It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be bloody. It's going to be violent, and I know it's going to adhere to that good, that classic samurai kind of, golden age of movies. I know that fans always love, and this is what I love about the game, is that it does have that style. So if they can find a way to recreate that same style and just that same feel into the films, and I know they will.
They can.
They just got best of the best here to work on that. And I know himself, Chad, is a person who loves creating very stylistic action, and Ghost of Tsushima is right up his alley.
Ghost of Tsushima is just straight up stylistic action. It's the epitome of stylistic action, and that's what everybody was talking about when we played the game. I mean, even though I was slightly, I would say, pushed away by how slow it was, like the movement, but it was still gorgeous. So if they can somehow adapt that in real life, that would be just fantastic. And we have, we trust him completely. Perhaps too much. You might be thinking, Aisha, Mikhail, that is just too much trust. You guys are gonna get disappointed. We're okay with that. I feel like we cannot get disappointed, and you guys can use our words against us in the future when the movie comes out, whenever it comes out.
It's just that we don't know how it's going to fail, It's just there's so much.
I feel like we're tempting fate by now. We're tempting
knock
fate.
on wood. There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe that could work.
Maybe. Inshallah.
In the meantime, we're going to be waiting for Sony's Uncharted, as well as what's the other Sony adaptation that's in the works?
The Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of Us.
We keep forgetting.
I'm just so focused on Ghost of Tsushima,
I mean, deservedly so. How can you not get distracted by the epicness of Ghost of Tsushima?
And if you haven't played the game, go play it. Check our review. We have a whole review about it, and enjoy.
Coming up next is, again, with the reboots. Another discussion. Should they be rebooting this cult classic? That is... I can't really, honestly. National Treasure is apparently getting rebooted by Disney Plus. I'm sad and disappointed. You see the highs we just had? We're going down low. Coming right up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
You know, when we talk about national treasures, one of them is Nicolas Cage.
And the movie National Treasure.
And National Treasure, starring Nicolas Cage. But when you try to reboot the National Treasure
That is
without
National
the
Treasure.
National Treasure himself,
Exactly, that is
what's
National
the
Treasure.
point, you know?
Exactly.
And this is the point of this story right here.
Exactly.
As Disney Plus has just announced a 10-episode greenlight, hoping to reimagine the treasure hunting franchise with a younger and more diverse cast. Now
Listen.
that sounds like a whole lot of baloney.
Listen, I'm okay, go crazy with the cast, be diverse, but a younger Benjamin Gates, I'm not down with that. I don't like that.
I don't
That
know.
does not make sense to me. I understand the excitement of the youth and whatnot, because apparently he's supposed to be in his 20s or 20 years old, around that age. And I'm in my 20s as well. I understand that. I love the youth and whatnot. But no, it doesn't make sense to me.
I get where they're coming from. And it's just, this is Disney. They have tons of franchises. They got Disney Plus. They're figuring out what kind of content to put on their streaming platform.
Yeah.
You can only put so many Marvel shows out there, so many Star Wars shows. So you got to put things in between. And this is one of them. I do want to give it a benefit of the doubt because maybe it could come off as a really nice knockoff of Indiana Jones.
You literally called it a knockoff.
A nice knockoff. You
Nice.
see how I worded it out?
No,
you know?
it does not work out. It's like when you see garbage and you're like, it's sparkling garbage. It's still garbage. That's what you're saying. Yeah, that dumpster fire is warm. It's still a dumpster fire, Mikhail.
If they don't have Nicolas Cage cameo, then what's the point?
No, I don't want it. I'm really sorry. I really don't want this. I am all for reboots with diverse cast. I applaud it. I love it.
But just go with a new franchise. Don't.
Not only that, but if he was older, I would be like, okay, I will let it pass. It doesn't absolutely makes no sense to me. I know they can easily somehow rework it with whatever's going on in the United States in terms of the socio-political issues that are happening. It can work out. I'm not saying that there is no potential. There is. The potential is there. But the whole point of National Treasure is the fact that it's very fantastical and crazy.
Yeah.
It's very insane. It delves into conspiracy theories of, what is happening? What is going on? Whereas there is a secret society and whatnot. That is the treasure of National Treasure. And for you to remove that, this makes absolutely no sense. And for you to remove it and change the entirety of the cast, I really don't like it. This does not make sense to me. I know, again, there is a chance for the story to make sense.
Yeah.
It's viable. But it does not compute in my head.
It could act as a really nice prequel, to sort of, make the movies look better. And I think there's also reports of a third film in the making. I'm not sure.
That would have been cool because even though yes, we're very anti too many sequels, but
It'd be nice to see Nicolas Cage. Now he's much older, much wiser, and just saying one more time.
Exactly.
Halas, I'm down for that.
Honestly, if we had a series with Nicolas Cage of him going around trying, the whole conspiracy theories things. I mean, millennials and Generation X, Generation Z, sorry. We love conspiracy theories. So why not feed us more conspiracy theories with Nicolas Cage himself, the king of conspiracy theories? So I feel like it was a missed opportunity. We're not big. I'm not a big fan of it. Mikhail is still on the fence. I'm just not accepting it at all. We're gonna move on to our final segment coming up next. Aisha and Mikhail suggest.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak.
For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail suggest.
It's been a rocky Sunday here on the Afternoon Karak, and if you missed out on any of our
Rocky?
discussions, it's a
What are
little
you
rocky.
telling people?
Well, rock, paper, scissors. That's where I was going for.
There were no rocks though.
You're right. That's a good one. So, it's the end of the hour right here on the show.
Yeah.
And we want to remind you guys that if you miss out on anything, don't worry, we're going to have our show up on our YouTube channel at Pulse 95 Radio. If you also love our content, you can support us by subscribing to the channel. And also, if you just like listen to podcasts on the way back home or wherever you're going, you can listen to all of our podcast platforms on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Rami. Just type in Afternoon Karak and you're good to go. And it is almost the end of March, and it's that time again where Aisha needs to remind you of something.
Reminder, it's your check-in on your New Year's resolution, or I was going to call it just, your New Year's resolution. Your new year, new me. We're going to hold you accountable to it. Just saying, how are you guys doing? How is it? Are you doing well? Is everything going well?
Has things been progressing? Have you been achieving your little mini goals?
All those mini goals and also the big goals.
Have things changed?
Where have you reached? Are you still going to the gym? Did you cut it off? This is me talking to myself as well. Aisha, are you going to the gym? No, you're not going to the gym. Even though you said you're going to go to the gym every single, 6 days a week. And apparently it went from, let's go 6 days a week to 0 days a week. But it's okay. We're still maintaining that weight. I'm still running up down the stairs, not on purpose, just to get more snacks downstairs. But my point is, we're still working on it. You still have 9 months, 8 months in the year. That's plenty of months to work around your goals. We still want you to be successful.
I'm still working on my Arabic, and if you ever meet me out in public, just talk to me in Arabic. That's the way I practice. And I've been learning a little bit. I've just been sort of dipping my toe into Dungeons and Dragons, the actual game.
Are you saying we're gonna play Dungeons and Dragons soon?
Maybe, but it has a huge learning curve, and I just felt encouraged by one of my friends who got into it recently and joined a community here in the UAE, and I'm like
excited.
I mean, I did board games. Why shouldn't I do Dungeons and Dragons?
That makes sense. That is the natural progression into the slippery slope of Dungeons and Dragons.
Hobbies, right?
Hobbies, exactly. What about your hobbies? How are they going? Do you have a new one? Because even though you haven't probably added this to your New Year's resolution, there is a chance for you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna add this to the things I want to incorporate this year, and Dungeons and Dragons could be one of them. Are you a dungeon master? Text us 4215 Itsalat Urdu and teach Mikhail some tips and tricks. We are going to be going off, unfortunately, because our time here is done, but we make way for Yalla Home, Big House, and Anna Schofield coming right up next from 5 p.m. all the way till 8 p.m. only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of The Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse